Okay, now in part 3 of Lokesh Kanagaraj interviews, translated from a few of the Tamil interviews for those who do not understand Tamil. So earlier in part 2, we sort of ended on a note about Lokesh Kanagaraj's attachment to the film Satya because it linked to his personal life, and Talapati being like a movie that he liked as a movie and not connected to personal life, but the way the film was shot, the way Rajini portrayed the character, and so on. Also, Lokesh talked about the Hindi remake in Tamil, this film called Kurdi Punal, starring Kamal Hassan and Arjun, which kept him on the edge of his seat with the action kind of a vibe. Although action itself was not like it was more like a thriller rather than action film per se. So he cited that as another influential movie for him. So back to some popular question that many interviews have asked him. This is about him directing a project with both Rajinikanth and Kamal Hassan being in it. He says, of course, he would love to do it. He would drop everything and just start the project if it was possible. In the year 2020, they were almost close to it, Kamal producing and Rajini acting in such a film. But he said COVID caused delay and postponement. But news on the grapevine says that Kamal wanted to bring in a co-producer, to which Rajini did not agree. So what is the truth? God only knows. Supposed to be about two aging gangsters, rival gangsters. So that is about that. He also cited the fact that the salary alone, paying both Rajinikanth, Kamal Hassan, and Lokesh, would mean that the project would have to be very very big. So he said it's up in the air whether such a thing is possible or not. And then another popular question by some of the interviewers is about his salary. It also came out in newspaper media, digital newspaper media, about him getting 50 crores. And he said that he's not bragging, but he's just telling the truth that he's getting this much of salary. He knows what it means to be poor. He's gone through all that, and so he thinks it's a fair remuneration. Tax wise, he has all his papers in order, so he doesn't see the whole thing as a big issue, and is happy that directors are getting more remuneration nowadays compared to back in the day, so that they can how to say, be respected at the same level as the big stars. Regarding doing other projects in languages like Hindi, he mentioned that from his very first film Managaram, Rajini has been calling him and congratulating him is one thing, but also Hindi producers have been knocking at his door for various goals, whether be it remaking rights for his films or even doing a direct Hindi project. For example, the film Kaidi, Ajay Devgan was supposed to star and Lokesh to direct, but he felt like repeating the same storyline and reworking on the same thing. He's a restless kind of person. He likes to move from place to place. So for Loki, this kind of remaking his film in Hindi is a bit of a bummer. But maybe in terms of a fresh story, he's up for it. That's why his current collaboration with Amir Khan, both in Coolie, in which he insists that it's not a cameo but more of a, how to say, a role in the film, and it's like you can call it an extended cameo if you want, he says. So they had a good chemistry that, and so they're planning to do a big budget action film after Loki is done with this commitment for the film Kaidi 2. And after interacting with Amir Khan in whatever little he had in the film Coolie, he is convinced that Amir Khan, the perfectionist, is Kamal Hassan of North India or Hindi Bollywood films. Loki mentioned that to sort of compensate for the lack of direct Rajini and Kamal project, well, in the film Leo, starring Vijay, Kamal would have given a telephone kind of a voice at the ending. So anyway, he says that to compensate for the lack of Kamal, he decided to use Shruti Hassan, who's Kamal Hassan's daughter, who plays a major role in the film Coolie, and he feels that that is almost like having Kamal's aura inside the film. And this is, he says, this is something new, but actually if you look back even in the film Talapati 1991, Shah Rukh Hassan, who's Kamal Hassan's brother, had acted together with Rajinikanth. So it's not like exactly the first time that someone from Kamal Hassan's family is acting with Rajinikanth. So that is not a big deal. Regarding Lokesh Kanagaraj moving out of his comfort zone of violent action, so it's like I don't know, I don't know how he was trying to make a joke, but when they asked if he has ever tried romantic script, he claims that he wrote such a story. he gave it to his editor Philo to have read, and editor said that this is the most violent thing you have ever written, and so that stopped there more or less. Otherwise, he talked a bit about his shooting strategies, where he shows previous days scenes to the next day's actors, especially if they were not in the previous day's scene, both for them to see how the scene evolved and also to instill a sense of competition among them, to extract a good performance from them. So actually, multi-starers for Loki has lots of benefits. He mentioned that from his first film Managaram, it's always about four core characters. So his film is not about one hero with just supplementary characters, but about 3 or 4 strong characters, each having their own story, and he enjoys the kind of interlinking between them. Therefore, when he became a more popular director, he was able to get the bigger stars, so he just put them in, according to him, not as a gimmick, according to him, not as a pan-India strategy to make the regional audience come to watch it for their own respective heroes, which I doubt how sincere Loki's answer is. Well, he still has years to go to evolve to Rajini's level, right? He's a human being, so I'll give him some slack. But anyway, that's what he says. And his strategy of showing the reels to the actors did not work with Kamal, because Kamal said, like, I am not so worried about that. I will see everything once the final cut is out. So yeah, maybe Kamal has seen it all, and so he didn't feel the need to sort of watch others. Okay, but anyway, apparently he used to do that. Regarding the violence in his films, he says that it's not the violence per se, but the emotional drive or the story that brings the audience and everybody to that particular point of violence. Of course, using like cool weapons and moves adds to it, the big budget adds to it, but he says that the core of it, if the violence is not driven by strong emotions, then it will fall flat. For example, all the people committing violence in Lokesh Kanagaraj's film have like a strong emotional reason. For example, Kamal Hassan with his grandchild, right, and Kaidi, what do you call it, Karthi has his family to look at, and so on. So everybody have their emotional motivations behind the violence. Also, when the interviewers challenge him about making movies with limited weapons or no weapons, or setting change from city to village for area, he said he has no problems at all, because his violence, as he said, is emotion driven, story driven, and he will use whatever equipment. For example, in Kamal's Vikram, Kamal used a laptop to attack the bad guys at one point. In Kaidi, Karthi would use handcuffs. So he says if it's a village story, then the tools that are there would be the one that would be driving the violence. Lokesh also felt there is a lot of interesting coincidences. For example, the last time Satyaraj and Rajinikanth acted prior to this film, Coolie, has been 30 plus years, when they acted in Mr. Bharat in 1986. And 1986 is the same year that one of iconic Kamal's films, according to Loki, the film called Vikram Part 1, the OG Vikram, came out. And that is also the year that Lokesh Kanagaraj was born. So yeah, he does look at all these patterns with interest and attributes them to some spiritual power. He also said that not only Rajinikanth but Anirudh also was quite impressed with the output of the film. I will continue with some other points from the Loki Tamil interviews in our next part 4 interview.